Hi everyone and welcome to DreamSpace TV here in One Microsoft Place in Dublin. My name is Amanda.
And I'm Corey.
In today's episode we're going to build on what we've learned last time, which was all about conditional statements in coding and in a coding program. But today we're going to focus on energy efficiency.
Exactly, Amanda. In our last episode, we continued on with our coding journey with the microbit. And we got the microbit to act as a rock, paper, scissors game. We used conditional statements and even variables. So we really threw you into deep end. So well done for keeping up. We then asked you to go off and add some extra to your rock, paper, scissors game that would work if someone who couldn't see would still be able to participate in the game. So let's review what we done in our last episode, will we?
Definitely. Let's go back through it because there was a lot, as you said. Well done to everyone.
A lot. Okay, so let's quickly recap. What we said is, on shake, we want the microbit to pick a random number between 1, 2, and 3. And if it's 1, it's going to be a rock. Else, if it's 2, it's going to be paper. Or else, it's going to be a scissors.
Perfect.
And then we asked you to add some extra to it. So, I think Amanda gave a little hint. She went, music.
I think it was more than a little hint.
So I actually think that's a really good idea, because if somebody couldn't see the LED lights, well, they will be able to hear the music, okay? So I actually think that's a really good shout. So let's pop into our music category, and I'm going to bring out play melody. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to make sure that it's going underneath my rock here. Now,
so Corey, is that in under number 1 or where exactly have you put it? Because I can't see there.
It's underneath number 1, which was my rock.
Ah, very good.
And I think my plan is going to be maybe 1 kind of beat for rock, 2 beats for paper, and then 3 beats for scissors.
Yeah, perfect.
So if I click into play melody here, I can just click, I don't know.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's 1 note, yeah.
And I'm going to press done. Should I test this out now?
I think maybe you're okay to
Keep
do
going.
each and then test at the end.
Okay, so again, I'm going to bring out the same block. So I'm going to go music, play melody, bring it underneath else if RPS equals 2, and underneath my icon there of my paper. Click into melody, but this time remember, I'm going to use 2 beats. So I'm going to go. Sounds good?
Yeah, there's a difference there. I think you can distinguish. That's definitely 2.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
And then finally, for my else category, I'm going to go back into my music again, bring out play melody, but this time I'm going to have 3 beats. I'm going to click in, and I'm going to go.
Ah, very good.
Love it. Okay, so I'm going to test this out and see what happens. So wait for it to say game on, because remember that's our string. Amanda, do you want to pick rock, paper, scissors, play against it?
I'll play it one more time. I think I won the last time against the microbit today.
You did.
Let's see who wins this time. Right.
1, 2, 3, go.
I've gone paper. Oh.
So
the microbit
see,
won.
the
Oh, it was
microbit
3
won,
notes.
but it was 3 notes because it was scissors.
Perfect.
So well done, everyone.
Fantastic. So we're going to still need to use those skills now in today's episode. We're going to be still doing conditional statements, but we're going to add a different twist to our challenge today. Today we want to focus on energy efficiency. So basically, how efficient are we with the energy we use? And this is really important, Corey, because if we want to be sustainable and protect our planet, we should be really as efficient as we possibly can. And in people's homes, a lot of energy is lost.
Yep.
And a lot of the time, that energy is through heat, believe it or not. And it's because sometimes, for example, people leave their heating on even though it might be warm outside, or they forget to turn it off. And all of that is a complete waste then, because you don't need to have your heating on.
Exactly.
So could we actually use the microbit to monitor temperature? Yeah, we can, can't we? Remember, we talked about how the microbit had a temperature sensor. So in knowing that, maybe we could use our conditions to tell the microbit to give us some sort of instruction based on the temperature that it's picking up.
I love it.
So we're going to go make a plan now first. So let's go over here and we make sure we think about this, because we're going to be talking about temperature. And temperature is measured in different ways. In Ireland, we tend to use degrees Celsius. Often you'll see, for example, if it was 20, it might say 20, and then the degree sign is that little one. And then big C is Celsius, the Celsius scale. So it's monitored in different ways, but they're all numbers. So we're basically kind of trying to keep track of numbers here, Corey, and figuring out what to do. Now, if we think about it, say, for example, my microbit is located in the sitting room. So I have my microbit as a sensor propped up somewhere in the sitting room. I need it to be continuously monitoring the temperature so that when the temperature hits different numbers, we then maybe decide what happens. So it's not going to be a one-off. I'm not going to click on A for it to figure out the temperature. I want it to be keep tracking the temperature over and over again. So what do you think? What does that remind you of? Something that's continuously running an instruction?
Well, forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So we could use the forever block. Because if we use the on start block, that means it's only going to check at the start. Whereas we want, as you said, for it to be continuously monitoring the temperature.
Exactly. It's going to continuously monitor the temperature. And forever, therefore, is basically like an infinite loop. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going and going, running that same sequence of instructions over and over again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what we want to do. It's propped up in my sitting room. It's monitoring the temperature over and over again. And now we need to use our conditions to say if the temperature is greater or less than, maybe we might use, then what do we do? So let's write that plan out. So really good point, Corey, about forever. So we're going to say forever.
Check this condition.
Yeah. So we're going to say if. I'm just going to write temp for the moment. So that means temperature. So if the temperature, and I think I'll say is greater than 20. Okay, so we have our greater than sign. If the temperature is greater than 20, well then we're going to, it's up to us actually. So like anything, I'm going to put a blank there. So you can decide yourself what spin you want to put in it. Maybe it's an alert noise, maybe it's a string, maybe it's some sort of icon. We'll actually decide that when we go into our program. But there obviously has to be some sort of an action as a result of the temperature going above 20.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm happy with that one. Okay, or else we might say if the temperature, and let me think, we might think of a lower number now where it would be maybe you need to turn your heating on. So we'll go maybe less than maybe 12.
12 is a good one,
Yeah, so less than 12, well then, and again, we can decide.
Whatever we want there.
Yeah, and actually that means that it's monitoring greater than 20. It's monitoring less than 12, so there's a bit of a gap in between. If I quickly draw out my number line here, very quickly, and I say, here is 0, here's 5, here's 10, here's 15, 20, 25. Okay, so this means at the moment, I'm monitoring, and we'll say 12 is here, I'm monitoring all of this, everything this way.
Okay, yeah.
I'm monitoring everything this way. So what's left that the microbit is monitoring? It's all the stuff that's in between. So
Very
everything
good.
between 12 and 20 is going to be else.
Is else. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
Is that okay? So we do it?
Yeah.
That's our plan.
let's.
We'll see how it works as we go. So we're going to hop back into our microbit. And actually, Corey, if it's okay, because I know you've saved your program
Yes.
elsewhere. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to delete this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're going to come in here.
So much code.
All the code in the bin, sorry.
Bye.
I'm going to delete this one.
Yep.
And I'm going to go back to what we normally have when we first open our program. So as always, if you're going to be taking part now, you want to make sure that you go to your makecode.microbit.org website, click on new project, and normally when you click on new project, we're into a blank kind of slate like this now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want our microbit to monitor our temperature continuously. So we talked about that this block, we haven't used it yet actually,
No.
haven't we? No. So this is our forever block. So Corey, what are we thinking? The first thing we want to do is say what? We don't need to actually show anything, or do we want to?
We could show something on start, but we don't have to. The first thing that we could do is we could actually, we could go into our conditionals.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Let's just jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't need on start, so I think I'll
No.
get rid of that one.
Delete it.
Yeah. And let's just go to our forever block. So Corey, in our last episode, you used lots of conditionals.
Yes.
Where did we find them? What category?
Well, we find our conditional statements in our logic category.
Perfect. So I'm going to hop in here, and I have lots of options. I'm going to go with the top one. So if true then, which is what you used last time. And I'm going to bring that one in here. Now, like what you did, I don't need the word true in this case.
Exactly.
What am I looking for this time?
Well, you're still looking for a comparator, But you're not looking for equals to, because remember you said that you want to check if something is greater than or less than.
Okay.
So
in the last episode we were saying if RPS equals 1. And this time we're talking about if temperature and it was greater than less than. Okay. And that's the same logic, yeah?
Yeah.
And we go down to category. And you used this one the last time, the equals.
Equals.
But this time we're going to take the one with the less than sign. So I'm going to bring that one in. And like you were showing in the last time, these connectors are really handy.
Yeah.
So I'll just pop that in there. Now, if I'm just check my plan real quick, I think I said greater than first. Not that it matters, but I'm going to try and stick with what I've written here. So temperature greater than. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to say hit my arrow. Remember, arrows mean we have options. Go greater than. And now we just need to fill in what we're actually comparing here.
Yeah.
So if temperature, now we talked about temperature back in maybe our first episode of Microbit.
Yeah.
So what was it? Where was it?
It was an input, if you remember.
Perfect. Because temperature is always being monitored in the environment. It's something that Microbit can take in. So it's an input, exactly. So down here in the input category, I have my temperature block. And you can see actually that the Microbit is monitoring in the same, with the same unit that I talked about, degrees Celsius, because there is other options for temperature. And I'm going to put that in my first area. And it connects there. And I said if temperature is greater than 20.
So make sure you change that to 20.
And this is where we have a bit of freedom, Corey, so
yes.
You can work with me on this one. We have to decide what happens if temperature is greater than 20.
Well,
Thoughts?
why don't we show string and say it's too hot in here?
Perfect. So we go show string.
You can even just say too hot.
Yeah, so too. Oh, I've gone all caps as well. Right, too hot. Will I actually do two things maybe will I do like a sad face?
Yeah.
Because we don't need to be wasting energy.
Yes.
So I can go show icon maybe.
Let's do it.
Hit my arrow.
Is there an option there? Ah,
there we
is.
go, sad face. So now if the temperature goes above 20, greater than 20, I should see two things happen. These are my two instructions, my sequence. Show me a string that says too hot, or show me an icon that shows me a sad face.
Okay.
So it's going to be those two things together once the temperature is greater than 20. And it's going to continuously do this, because remember, all of this is within our forever infinite loop. So now would be a good time to pause and think about your plan for your temperature sensor. You might use different numbers, you might have different actions happen in then. So plan it out and then come back to join us. Okay, so I wanted also to look at if the temperature was less than a certain number as well.
Yeah.
So you showed us this last week. The quickest way to do this is what?
Press the little plus button there. Exactly.
Perfect. Now, at the moment it's if, then, or else, but we're going to have more, aren't we?
Yeah, we have three options here, don't we? Because we have less than, greater than, and then everything in between.
Exactly, like
So
on
you're-
our number line.
Exactly. So you're going to have to press the plus button again.
Go one more time. All right, and that should cover us off. Now again, if you're watching, you might decide that you're going to monitor temperature across lots of categories. And that means you can build out more conditional statements, doesn't it, Corey?
Yeah.
Once more, you don't have to copy us exactly. You can put your own spin on this. This is what we're doing. Or you might just do two. You might do if it's greater than 20 then, or else it's everything in between.
Exactly.
Okay, so else if, I need to pretty much mirror what I did here, don't I?
Yep.
But I'm going to have to obviously change what I'm comparing slightly. So I need to go get this block again. Again, we're going to pop that in there. I got my temperature in input and I can see it's pink. This is where the colours can be really handy. Sometimes if we forget, pop that in here. And now this time, less than. What was my plan, Corey?
I think it was less than 12.
Less
was
than
it?
12, yeah.
Yeah.
So else if the temperature is less than 12. Okay. Oh,
And now we have the freedom again, don't we, to put whatever we want in there.
what are we thinking?
I don't know, will we stick with the same theme that we have, like a string and an icon?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. So I'm going to go basic, show string, too cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably isn't too cold, but it might.
Cold enough.
Yeah. It's probably not too cold for Ireland, in fairness.
Yeah, actually,
okay,
that's true.
So too cold, and turn heat on, I suppose. So what we could do, maybe, what we do as a symbol.
Is there a little like sun?
There's actually, I think there's like a tick. So it could be like,
yes.
yeah. So we go into icons, and again, you guys can play around. You can make your own. In my head there, I was thinking I'd love like a little fire symbol to tell you to turn the heat on, but I couldn't draw that. So there's probably people watching that can do that. So I'll go with, there's like a tick here.
Love it.
I'll go with that. Perfect. Okay, and then remember, or else, and I'm going to jump back in because I know this can be sometimes a little bit tricky to understand. So remember our number line. So we've covered greater than 20, we've covered less than 12. So or else is everything in between.
In between.
So we're going to go back here, or else, I think we'll just say kind of perfect.
Just right.
Yeah, just right. Okay, so I'm going to go into show string. Oh.
I think just a quick refresh probably will just reboot you there.
And actually, if this happens, if you're using your computer or a tablet or whatever you're using, the little refresh icon does come in handy, like just for me there.
Yep.
I'll just zoom in slightly so we can see a bit more. Okay. Right, so show string too close, then we've our icon, and now or else. So like we said, just right. So we're going to go in here. Or actually, I'll just say perfect, so it's not too long a string. What do you think?
Exactly.
And then a smiley face?
Yeah.
Okay. Show icon, hit our arrow, and pick our smiley face. Now, I'm going to just slightly zoom out so we can see. I'll try and get this all in shot so we can see it all. Now, so this is all of our code. Remember, this is a continuous loop. All right, I know sometimes it can be a bit confusing because you're thinking loops are meant to be in green. I agree. So it's just the way it works, but that's basically what that means. This is continuously checking, and it's checking on its conditions all the time. If the temperature is greater than 20, if it's less than 12, or if it's in between those things, and it's going to do these things. What do we need to do, Corey? Okay,
we need to test it, but how do we test it on the screen?
Now, this is a great point. So at the moment, it's saying, I don't know if you can see, it's saying too hot, and it's doing the sad face, which basically means that the temperature is greater than 20. And if you look here on the screen, you might see that it says 21. So this isn't exactly the temperature right in here right now. I can guarantee it's a lot hotter, isn't it, Corey?
Yes.
It's very warm, all right? But it's actually just, it's like a simulator. So like we talked about before, this is just kind of pretending to show us things. So we can actually move this up and down. But we'll talk about what the real microbit will do in a second. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to move it. So what we'll check is, okay, we're happy enough that it's definitely picking up greater than 20.
Yep.
Because 21 is doing what we've said. So let's bring it below 12.
Yeah, and let's test that.
Okay, so I'm going to grab the bar here. And if you do this as well, I'm going to bring it down to 5. I'm going to stop. Let's see if it picks up on the changes. Oh, I think I need to refresh actually. So refresh that, bring it down, 5.
What's this saying?
I hope this says cold next. Yes. Okay. So
I was like,
yeah, it was finishing its other instruction first. Remember, it has to do that. So now it's saying too cold. And it's doing the tick to remind us you probably need to turn your heat on now. It's okay, you're not going to waste energy. You don't want to freeze. We need to get this heat going, okay? We're at 5 degrees. Perfect. Remember, everything else was between 12 and 20. So the else. So if we want to test this, it's what's in between those. So I'm going to go, what will I do, 15?
15, yeah.
So go to 15 or 16, it's fine. Perfect. Okay, so it's picking up the different options. Now, think about this. If you have your microbit in your home doing this, how handy is that? So you just can go in, you can see it going by.
Yeah.
A lot of people might actually already have temperature sensors doing things like this, which is really, really useful. And like I said, it means we can save energy. And how those sensors are working is code, which is what we were saying. It's literally behind everything, isn't it, Corey?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so, so good.
So now we want you to go off and plan how your thermostat is going to work in your house. So we want you to plan and think, whereabouts would your microbit be? And then we want you to think, well, if it's going to be in a room, how about we add something to it so that it can alert us if it's too hot, too cold, or just right. Then we want you to go off and research how you can save more energy in your home.
Perfect. So thank you so much for watching today's episode of DreamSpace TV. We hope you've enjoyed all of the stuff we've done so far. We're not finished yet. We've still loads to teach you about, so join us next time. Bye.
Bye.